Live.
We're live.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes show. I hope we have better tech karma this week than last week. And you know, Scott, last Monday was like final destination of tech problems because that night I lost power. We had thunderstorms roll through, power went out, and Leanne broke her toe that night. So it was a trifecta, punch in the gut.
There's just a lot of things going wrong on that Monday. Yeah, there were a lot of things going that we couldn't get on top of, unfortunately. But hopefully today, we're in a better place. We're in a better place, as are the Yankees. So, maybe that's a little bit of what it's supposed to be. And hopefully this showing is a little bit better than Jazz Chisholm's home run derby showing, because that wasn't good. That wasn't good.
I missed the whole thing. I didn't have power. Never happened. Right. Never happened in my world.
Oh, it happened in my world. I think it was his stepdad that was throwing to him like 50 miles per hour. So I don't think that really helped speed up his bat a little bit,
Did he actually say, someone joked, I thought this was a joke where he was like, I wasn't really trying to hit home runs. Did he actually say that?
I don't know. I didn't hear him talk about it afterwards. Besides, I heard him say something of just like brush it off, which, kind of is what you have to do, I think, at that point. But yeah, it just wasn't great for him. I lost money on him, which I knew was a flyer, but it was a flyer.
But you didn't bet that much money, or did you?
I probably bet a little more than I should have. And I put it on him, and I put it on Rooker as well. And frankly, like, Rooker got robbed. He definitely got robbed in the first round, because he took some balls down the middle where he could just like look at them, and everybody else did this afterwards. After he did it, he was first or second guy up. But they hadn't realized that they only had 40 balls in the basket at that point. And so he had 38 balls. So with the last 5 or 6 seconds, there were no more balls to throw. Whereas everybody else who got a couple looks, they replaced the balls in the basket. So he got screwed by 2 and then lost by 1. So yeah, he got which, at that point was messing with my money, which I didn't appreciate.
Well, do you want to start with the All-Star Game home run derby thoughts, or do you want to talk about the weekend?
Yeah, I think we could get through. Let's do the weekend first, and then we'll go back to the derby, because this weekend was good and bad, but mostly
tale
good,
of two weekends. Yeah, if you split the weekend down the middle at about 9 p.m. on Saturday night, it's looking rough. They got to go opener out of the break, and they're getting their butts kicked through the first half of that game on Saturday. And you're like, oh, okay, so this is how we're going to kick things off in the second half. And then the bats woke up and they came back in that game on Saturday. And it's another one of those, is this the turnaround game? Is this the play? Is the Volpe 2-homer game first in his career? The Trent Grisham go-ahead grand slam? Is this the moment that turns them around? The same way we were asking that question 2 weeks ago with, is the Cody Bellinger shoestring catch throw out at first base going to turn the season around?
Yeah, I mean, this one feels more like a moment in that nature, because you get the resurgence of Anthony Volpe. I put on the thumbnail that he's alive, because that's what it felt like. He actually looked like a baseball player on Saturday at the plate. And he was, swinging for the fences, which I kind of don't love, but it worked. And he hit the ball out, which was great. He almost hit another one out that was, to the track. But then you have the Grisham go ahead grand slam. It just felt like, usually the offense, I feel like those moments when offense goes and it's a multiple, there's multiple stages of feeling that way is when it can happen and momentum can swing. So, hopefully that's the case, because they need the momentum right now with Toronto coming up. It's a huge series for the Yankees, and taking 2 of 3 in Atlanta after that first game, coming out with the opener from the All-Star break, which is like, what are we doing? Is big. It's big, and the fact that Volpe has a little bit of some confidence right now at the plate is something that he certainly needs, and the team I think needs it, because they need production from the bottom of that lineup.
I mean, we've spent the last 2 episodes ragging on Volpe and really ragging on the Yankees for continuing to defend him at all turns. And even Aaron Boone saying he's effing elite. I think he snapped at Meredith when she was questioning him, calling him elite. And it's like, I don't have a problem with the Yankees just defending Volpe and saying we have confidence in this guy. This is our guy. Yeah, of course. What do we expect them to do? They're not going to sit there and say, yeah, he stinks, and then go out there and play him every day. I draw the line when the manager's telling us he's elite when he's done nothing in his career to say he's elite. I mean, that was an elite moment he had on Saturday night with the 2 big home runs, sure. But I'm sorry, Boone, he has not been elite otherwise throughout his career. Could he be elite going forward? Maybe. We haven't seen it yet, so I'll believe it when I see it. It was massive, though. Are you believing it, though? Are you believing it?
I mean, I need more. You know, as we all know, we need more, right? Because it's funny. I put a just like kind of fucking around, but I put a poll up on the Twitter account saying like, what do you expect next? An 0 for 20 streak or Volpe to break out? And the 0 for 20 streak won the poll. So it's basically like, what have you done? What have we been seeing? And this extended slump of his has just gone on for such a long time that it's usually in the past, what we've seen past couple of years is like slump, hot streak. And we just haven't had that hot streak happen since the beginning of the season.
So before the 2-homer game, he between June 15th and July 18th, 28 games, was hitting 121, 193, 222 in 110 plate appearances. It was non-existent. And so you saw the Jazz beef with I guess it was the third base coach in the Atlanta dugout. They were jawing at each other. Apparently that stemmed from because the Atlanta dugout was accusing Jazz of relaying signals to Volpe in that at bat.
Yeah.
And if you look at the still image of Jazz at second base, he's doing the hand. He's got his both arms up the same way that the Yankees had their arms up last week against the Mariners closer when they had his signs or when he was tipping pitches or whatever. You know, have his signs sounds dirty. Tipping pitches, you pick up on a pitcher's tip, and it's all the players are involved. If Jazz is picking up on a tip and relaying it to Volpe, fair game. Where it becomes not fair game is if you're doing something else to pick up on signals or pitches, and then you're using people from the dugout to relay information. That's where I draw the line. And obviously
it's using other means of doing it. But if you're out there and you see with your eyes what's going on, and then you're giving some type of a signal back, then that's been happening forever. So I don't know if that was the case, but I mean, Volpe was swinging out of his shoes,
which is weird. Like the swings he was taking were confident, aggressive swings. That has not been the Anthony Volpe for the past month. He's been taking defensive hacks in positions where he shouldn't be taking defensive hacks, and he's been rolling over on balls to the left side. Like that has literally been him for a month.
What Girardi said was one of the is the reason why everything is happening right now. And it's a telling statistic to understand what's been going on with Volpe and why he's been struggling. But one of he was talking about the chase rate, and he's, his chase rate is not bad. He's actually among one of the better chase rates. I think his shortstops, I forget what the stat was, but either way, the premise is the chase rate's not there. So he's not stretching the zone and struggling in that regard. He's struggling with the strike zone. He's struggling with hitting strikes,
which is worse.
Me is like very highly alarming. And at that point, you're looking, okay, the guy's got a good feel for the strike zone. Great, check. Now you're narrowing down what you're looking at and what you're swinging at and what you're going to be attacking. Check. Now you have to execute on the balls in the strike zone and fastballs, which were part of the struggles. And that's what was not happening. So, I don't know where that disconnect is. I don't know how a professional hitter at that point has problems with balls in the strike zone predominantly. Like that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, maybe there's something there that there's a glimmer of hope, because anybody who's in the major leagues who knows that they're getting strikes and is consistently getting strikes and is consistently swinging at strikes should be doing, relatively well. Usually the chase rate and swings and misses are a problem outside the zone. They're not usually a problem in the zone. So, in theory, this is something that should be remedied. You know what I mean? As long as he can stay consistent with how he's being, in the strike zone and how he's really making sure that he's swinging at good pitches, he should be able to break out of something. But we'll see. We'll see as time goes on, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know how you can have any other opinion of Volpe at this point in time, because he needs to still prove it. But the Yankees are sticking with him no matter what. We know that.
Of course, there's no other option. There's no other shortstop on this team that's going to come in and play any significant time. We know what Peraza is. He's not a major league hitter. So he could play the field, but that's about it.
Yeah, and like the opener game, getting put in that position, and it's like I know people are crushing the decision to use an opener, but Schlitter felt something, so they scratched him. It's like I don't really know what else you can do at that point in time.
Yeah, what they could have done was Warren, I think, would have been on regular rest at that point, but they already told him he was throwing on Saturday. They told Stroman he was throwing on Sunday, and they wanted to keep it that in that order. And with Warren, they wanted to give Warren the extra day. So he could have, but again, it would have been, I'm sure the leading up to it, the process is different, the way that you prep is different, all the things. So yeah, they went with I guess the lesser of two evils and what they thought, and they went with the opener. Given the situation, it's not a good situation for anything, obviously. And I don't think it's a great situation when you have a guy that knows that he's starting on the next day, and then all of a sudden you're throwing him into it on that day as well, because I do believe preparation changes at that point. So, I don't think they were in a great situation anyway, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good coming out of the All-Star break in Hamilton, starting the game.
Right. And it's like, okay, the All-Star break, one of the best benefits of the All-Star break is your bullpen finally gets a rest. And it's like, well, we're erasing that immediately.
And yeah, I mean, it's not like they threw high leverage guys. You're not getting much, but again, the game was kind of out of hand. It got out of hand quickly.
But you could even see in Saturday's game the effects of the bullpen game the night before, because the Yankees were trying to come back in that game, right? Like they were chipping away at the Braves lead. And I forget the inning. I think it was the 6th inning. You knew Warren and Williams were getting in that game regardless, but Boone still had to go to Loizaga and try and stretch Loizaga 2 innings because he had to slot it up for Warren and Williams.
You keep saying Warren. Warren started the game.
Weaver and Williams.
Yeah.
We're going to pitch in that game Saturday regardless. And Boone was slotting Weaver and Williams for the 8-9. That's the plan he wanted to go with. So he was trying to stretch Loizaga 2 innings. Loizaga, by the way, been terrible.
He has been bad. And honestly, I think that they wanted to go, because Efros came in for one, he got 1 out. And then Tim. So that's the other thing with Boone, is that he had to bring in Efros. He brought in Efros and then brought in Loizaga, and Loizaga tried to stretch. So I don't know if the plan was, originally they had talked about Loizaga going back to that 2-inning guy, right? Like that's what they wanted to do. So then
they keep trying to make that happen, but
again,
never
they didn't
get through the 2 innings.
But they didn't, because they brought Efros in instead, rather than bringing Tim Hill back out. They brought Efros in to try to get that bridge inning into Loizaga and keep him at 1 inning at that point. But then Weaver had to come in and clean everything up. So
no, that was Loizaga's 2nd inning of work that Weaver had to come in.
Yes, correct. But he came in for Efros, is what I'm saying. Loizaga did. Yeah. So he Loizaga. They want him to be that guy. They for whatever reason, Boone needs that 2-inning guy that's reliable, and there's just not a great fit for who that guy is right now. Weaver could be that guy, but Weaver is more important in high leverage. I guess it's depending on what the inning is and what the situation is. You could use him in that case, but then you really don't have anybody reliable, for the 8th inning at that point, because clearly Devin Williams is now back, locked into that 9th inning. And he's been. Since the early scuffles, Devin Williams has been pretty good, and he hasn't had much problem.
He got put back in the closer spot when Weaver went down, and he's been good ever since.
Yeah. So, but Boone wants to keep Weaver, obviously, as that option before Devin Williams, and therefore you need to use Loizaga as that guy, because clearly there's no other guy right now with Cruz down. There's no other guy in that bullpen before Loizaga, really, that, except for Tim Hill, who comes in for matchups, is a reliable inning for Boone to come in. So he's mixing and matching.
It was just frustrating to be watching that game, knowing Weaver's going to be pitching in this game regardless, and still watching Boone try and stretch Loizaga out after out when he didn't have it. He's not been good, and he didn't have it on Saturday night. It's like, you're going to use Weaver and Williams regardless. Just pitch them now while the game is still close. Like, the Yankees are frankly lucky Weaver was able to come in and get out of that bases loaded situation, because that could have iced the game right there, and it would have been completely Boone and Loizaga's fault.
Yeah. No, and I think part of that, again, like Boone making too many decisions in the middle of the game like that is not a great thing. So, and Loizaga clearly has not been. The location just hasn't been there. The stuff looks like it's there. The velocity is there. They were talking about this on the broadcast. One of the last things that comes back to you is the location, and that's obviously where he's struggling right now. He's walking too many guys. He's missing spots, and yeah, you have dynamic stuff, but unless you're putting it where you want it, the batter still has an advantage of picking and choosing what they want to see.
And I'm sorry, like the comeback was a lot of fun, and I'm happy they came back. And Sunday was a clean game, like a well pitched, clean game. But the base running mistake by Vivas on Friday night, just jogging to third base, and then the multiple mistakes on Saturday night where both Jazz and Volpe go out to be the cutoff man and just second base is left open. And then the play on the ground ball to Goldschmidt, where I don't even know why Goldschmidt's going all the way over to
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whoever feels that ball, if he's over, he may be out of position to get that throw anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter.
True.
Actually.
Warren just forgets to cover first base, and then a run scores. I'm just like, I watch this team and I'm like, they've been making the same mistakes for 8 straight years.
Yeah.
They don't care to change about these mistakes, and they're never going to. They're always going to make these mistakes for as long as Aaron Boone is the manager.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. It's like, they came back, they hit themselves out of, back into that game, and they were able to take it, which is great. I'm obviously extremely happy that was, and it was fun to watch. But yeah, like that stuff's not going to happen when we've seen it in the postseason. Like, this is where that type of stuff bites you and will end your season at the right time or the wrong time, whichever way you're looking at it. And that is the MO of this team. That's the MO of what Boone's era has been, just sloppy baseball. And hopefully you can hit your way out of it with home runs. And that's what they did. They hit themselves out of it with home runs from Volpe, from guys that you're not expecting, and then Grisham coming in with the huge clutch hit from him to get them over the hump.
Fine, yeah, against a team that's not in the race this year, that also gave up 4 unearned runs on Saturday night.
Yes,
yeah, great. So it's a good win. I'm not sitting here telling you like the win doesn't count. But I'm just so sick and tired of the team playing this way.
I will say this. I love the fact that they followed it up on Sunday with a clean game, and Marcus Stroman came out and pitched well. And he's been very good since he's come back. Location's been much better, not walking guys. And that's where he gets in a ton of trouble. I know he nibbles a lot. That's kind of his game at this point, because he doesn't have anything that's overpowering. Not that he ever has, but
the nibbler.
He's been a guy that's been able to locate, and you're seeing that more. So, maybe there's something there where the injuries were preventing him from, getting those repeatable mechanics. And he's a compact guy who absolutely relies on having repeatable mechanics over and over again.
Compact guy is a very polite way to say short.
Well, short guys are compact, and he's able to repeat that delivery over and over the same way. And when he does that, when he's mechanically sound, he can execute on the edge of the plate. And that's what he did.
Compact guy is a polite way to say that guy's short. Lanky is a polite way to say that guy's just skinny,
stringy,
tall and gangly.
Lanky. Yeah. Yeah. So, Stroman's had a tale of 2 seasons in the past with the midway. So we'll see what he can do for the rest of the year.
Well, a huge series coming up. The Yankees are going back to Toronto. Didn't they just play in Toronto? They're going back to Toronto
for Canada Day.
Yeah, their next homestand is against Philly and Tampa. If you're looking for tickets, look no further than Game Time. I've used the Game Time app several times and I absolutely love it. I've used it for baseball games and theater tickets, but they have great tickets for all sporting events, concerts, and much more. The last minute deals feature is especially cool because you can snag great tickets for affordable prices by just waiting it out. You can save up to 60%. I also love the all-in pricing feature because there's nothing worse than being hit with added fees at checkout. Game Time just tells you what the total price is going to be up front. And last but not least, the lowest price guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you so much to Game Time for sponsoring us. Toronto, they just keep winning as well. They fired their manager and they've been pretty much the best team in baseball ever since they did that. Weird how that can happen.
How do you have a new voice that changes the motivations in a room with professional athletes? That's weird.
Maybe players who have talent wake up and say, oh shit. Okay.
Accountability. Wait, someone was on the block. Someone was held accountable for the things that we did. We affected the job and the livelihood of another person. Maybe we should change the way we do things. Maybe we should have more of an emphasis on the little things so that we can execute at a high level.
Mm-hmm. You mean if I get thrown out at third base because I was jogging, or if me and the other guy go out to be the cutoff man and forget to cover the bag, I'm not just going to get a slap on the ass on the way into the dugout. I'm actually going to get a talking to.
Yeah. Well, when you're looking at those are two different plays. Those are two different things. Jazz going back to second base again, like they need to talk and like again, but that just shows you what is emphasized around and making sure that like the manager should be 100% on making sure, especially a guy that used to play the infield, that there's clear communication and clear distinction in roles on baseball plays. That's a big deal, right? Like you should understand that. If there's a potentially play at third base and someone's going out for the cut, but there's also a guy going into second, who's got the bag, who's got the throw? We should know that.
Before you move on to the Vivas play, because I know you want to talk about that. So listen, they're professional athletes. They're Major League Baseball players. They've been playing baseball their whole life. Like, yes, I know they should know that. That's baseball 101. You don't need to practice that. But sometimes you do. Sometimes you just need to have reminders. And especially in spring training, that's when you spend the time and take the drills seriously. Pitcher
I'm not even talking
practice.
about spring training. Spring training is a lifetime ago. You have a guy now that's been playing second base for a majority of his career. He's played center field. He's played third base for the majority of the year and into last year as well. So there's a relatively new dynamic back again in the middle of the field. You better make sure that those guys are on the same page and clearly communicating because he hasn't been there in a while either. So to understand and think that that's going to be just like immediately back in is a lot. Like Jazz has done a lot for this team and his flexibility and learning new positions and figuring things out. So yeah, the coaches should be on top of that, making sure damn well that like these guys are understanding their role on all of the plays and making sure that make them flashcards so that they know what's going on. Because probably what was happening there was that Jazz was out of position and Volpe was in the right position. Like most likely is the clear is the reason why
the ball was to right center field, right?
But there was a potential play at either way. Volpe was going out for the cut. You know, that play's in front of him. Jazz should see that either way and be covering the bag. It doesn't matter at this point. They just need to be on the same page and understand that there's a guy that's back at a position which he hasn't played for, a couple months. So
but can't you just see
to be brushed up on?
Can't you just see though, like, yeah, they probably do all of the fielding drills, but they probably don't take them seriously because it's like the environment Boone has cultivated is like a fun, it's like a hanging out with your fun uncle type of atmosphere. It's like, oh, well, you hit dingers, so like we don't need to practice that type of atmosphere.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly it is, but there's clearly something because this isn't just a coincidence.
8 straight years of being absolutely, 8 straight years of being one of the worst fundamental team, and particularly they've ranked near the bottom in base running, outs on the bases. They routinely make outs on the bases.
Yeah. So the Vivas play. It's funny because, and this is not funny. This is sad. I've mentioned this a bunch of times. My son Kemp watches a lot of the games now with me. At least at night, he's watching the first few innings, and then we watch the highlights in the morning. And this year I've had to show him a few different plays because he's also learning baseball. He's playing a lot more, and so he's learning the game and learning the intricacies of the game and the details of the game. And unfortunately, I've had to show him plays that the Yankees have done and what not to do. And Vivas's play was one of them. This is a great lesson. And always hustle, always run, always don't take anything for granted. Make sure you are hustling at all times, no matter if a play is in the bag. If you think it's in the bag, you run hard no matter what. And this is exactly that. Vivas goes, takes it for granted. He clearly has a very easy stand-up tag from second because one, Acuna is probably not going to throw, or whoever in right field is not going to throw. They're certainly not going to throw a rope to third base without touching the ground to get you out. And as you're, doing like a little, I don't even know what that was at the end. He did like a little dance around third base to avoid the tag. But yeah, run hard, get in the bag, and be at the. He should have been standing there with a cup of coffee and waiting for the ball to arrive. Great throw by Acuna. Great heads up. Why not throw? Him and Judge are probably two of the strongest arms out there in right field who have the ability to do that. Also, know who's there. Know who's there and understand that guy can make it a tight play if he wanted to, and if he does throw it. So you better, if for no other reason, not to have that exact thing happen. For no other reason, not to be embarrassed by something like that. For no other reason.
Right.
Whether it's just hustling. No. You don't want to be on a low light. You don't want to be on
especially a guy like Vivas. Vivas, it's like you might not be on the roster in a few weeks. Like you should be hustling 100% of the time to show the team I want to be here.
Yeah. And Boone, I don't know if you heard what Boone said about that play and how Girardi was talking about this afterwards, I think on Saturday about it as well. In the fact that Boone was saying, that's a play that I'm not pulling a guy out on. That's a play that we'll talk about it and make sure that he understands that cannot happen. But that's not a play that I'm pulling a guy out on because of that play. And this is part of the problem. Okay, you have a guy that's fighting for time, that's coming up and playing, and yes, he made a mental mistake. A guy that should not be making mental mistakes like that. But again, man, I don't care who it is. There's an accountability point here. There's something that's being said now that says, okay, if I make a mistake, I'm not going to have to pay for it that first time. I'm going to have a get out of jail free card with no issue. Got a mulligan. Like, but these are things that at this level of baseball should never happen. So especially with a guy that's coming up fighting for time and trying to compete to be a longer player on this team and cut out a role for himself if he plays well. Like, I don't understand the reasoning there. That is the guy you have to sit down because you need to understand that lessons need to be learned. And I'm sorry, but if you do it and you have a mental lapse, you got to pay the consequence for it. And just there's no consequence.
But it's just like, okay, you've been taking this approach of I'm not going to pull a guy out for a mistake like that. I'm just going to give him a talking to. That's been the approach for 8 years, and they still make the mistakes. So clearly, your approach does not work.
Right. There's nothing driven home now that says you better goddamn hustle on every single play, which is the mentality that they need. Every single one. They need be smart in the head on every play. Be smart in the head every play. Think about every play. Make sure you're doing a baseball IQ every play. Make sure you're thinking about it every play. Make sure it's like Little League. You're reacting. You're not you're not just moving based on what happened in the moment. You're reacting because you already know what you're going to do.
So, have you heard Paul O'Neill talk about the time that Joe Torre benched him for not hustling?
I don't remember the story.
So O'Neill's told it like at least twice in recent years. There was a play at Fenway Park where he just jogged down first base and like did not hustle down first base. And the next day he wasn't in the lineup, and he went into Joe Torre's office and was like, "Why the F am I not in the lineup?" And Torre's like, "Well, you didn't run hard on that ball last night." And O'Neill like didn't even realize he didn't run hard on that ball, and talked about how he like didn't have a comeback. Like he couldn't say anything. He just had to take his medicine.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think back, it's like, well, what is like one characteristic of that 90s team?
baseball sound.
Yeah. Like
high IQ.
Fundamentals. We're going to let the other team F up and we're going to capitalize. We're not going to F up. And if we do F up, we're going to take accountability for it and we're not going to F up again in that same way.
But you see what the example that you're saying here, the difference in the example here is so stark and such a big deal to note, I think. And maybe this is an era thing in the way that guys manage, but Torrey just expected guys to do the right thing all the time. You had to do the right thing. And if you didn't do the right thing, he didn't even have to talk to you about it. There was just a consequence. So therefore everybody knew that you had to do the right thing or there was a consequence. And this is a great example of a guy, a starter who didn't do the thing and then just wasn't in the lineup. There's no need to discuss it. We all know that was the wrong move. I saw it, whether you realize it or not. Now you damn well know that the next time that ever happens, you're going to be out, and it probably doesn't happen ever again. It doesn't even need to be talked about. If you have that type of relationship and that type of expectation from your team, there's a lot of it that goes on the onus of the player for them to do the right thing. And the preparation is on them. And as a major league professional baseball player, that should be expected at that point, right? Like there's an expectation, whether the coaches are drilling it or not, there's also an expectation that the player is prepared on a daily basis and does the thing that they're supposed to do fundamentally at bare minimum. And so if that expectation is set and known, then the things take care of themselves. There's like an internal policing for what doesn't even need to be said. And Torrey had that type of relationship with his guys and that presence where you knew that he expected Mr. Torrey. You understood what he was about.
And think about the player he did it to. No one would ever accuse Paul O'Neill of not trying hard on a baseball field.
Right.
He had a bad play where he didn't try hard in one single play, but Aaron Boone would chalk that up to that's not that guy's character. He's not going to do that again.
Right.
He wouldn't even talk to him. That would just be that's a blip. That's a fluke.
And if you don't think that the young players on that team noticed that Paul O'Neill wasn't in the lineup because he didn't hustle and nobody said a damn thing about it in the moment, nobody even knew about it, but Torrey noticed it or a coach noticed it, like that puts everybody back on the details.
That sets tone where it's like, well, if Paul O'Neill's going to get benched for not hustling, I better be running 110% every fucking time.
Yes. And that is such an important detail in how you can run and establish a culture in the dugout, in the clubhouse. And what happens from there too, is that's when you start getting I get shivers when I talk about this stuff because it just reminds me of these 90s teams.
It should just be so basic, and it's just.
It also allows the leaders in the dugout and the clubhouse to kind of police the rest of the guys a little bit as well, because there's a standard now set, and it's set from the top down, and it trickles down. It goes from the manager to the captain to the guys that are the veterans, and it goes down, and you understand that there is now no tolerance for missing out on these little details. And that goes such a long way. And it also just gives the leaders in the clubhouse kind of like the permission to lead in that way as well. But when it's not coming from the guy behind you, it's very difficult for the captain or any of the leaders on the team to instill the same type of values, because your legs get cut out from under you when there's a guy that does something like Vivas does, and he just stays in the game and slapped on the wrist.
Yeah. No matter what the mistake is, I'm not talking about physical mistakes. Physical errors happen. I get it. You drop a ball, you miss a ground ball. Like, that's baseball, Susan. These are mental.
And even not running to first base happens when on frustration plays. It's a long season. These guys, like you said, O'Neill, who is the epitome of hustle, does it because he was frustrated and pissed off at himself and just had a lapse.
And Torrey probably also saw this as an opportunity. I'm going to make an example of Paul O'Neill, who is a leader on our team,
exactly,
who never does this anyway.
Yes, and it's not like Torrey has to talk. I guarantee he didn't talk about it. It just happened. It just happened.
It's just
come on, man.
It's a different world, and it's like, okay, it's fine. That's a different era, different world. It's like
not a different era though. It's not just the era. It's not the era. It's the personality of the manager That's what it is. Because this is still happening in baseball today. Like, it's not even from just the older guys. It's this happens. It's a way that you think. It's the way that you approach the game and a way that you approach the expectation of your players. It's as simple as that.
I know we've talked about this a dozen times, but I think it's a great example because it's much more recent. Girardi 2017 squeezed every ounce out of that baseball team.
Yeah.
And then he was let go. A lot of reasons were cited. One of the big ones was he was too hard on young players, namely Gary Sanchez. Well, you know what? Gary Sanchez was an all-star when he played for Joe Girardi. Whether he liked it or not, he was a freaking animal, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then
some guys need it. Some guys need that accountability and that structure.
And then Aaron Boone took over, and we never heard from Gary Sanchez again.
Yeah, no, he hit a home run against us when he was in a Baltimore Orioles uniform. But yes, that's, and you know what? Even the guys that need it and thrive in it, a lot of times they'll complain about it too. You just can't listen to them complain and don't give that voice any merit, because what's happening on the field is the result of the way that he's being developed, and it was through structure.
So Tom Brady's talked about how in meetings after games, Belichick would just roast him. Like he would just like highlight reels of all the bad plays Brady made. Brady, most other quarterbacks probably would have told Belichick to go F himself halfway through that tenure of someone of Brady's stature. Mm-hmm. But like they were getting the most out of each other from that sort of maniacal, tough coaching. Yeah. And like, you don't have to take it that far. But like, I don't know how evaluators, Hal, Cashman, whoever else is in charge and looking at these situations, I don't know how they can look at it with an objective eye and be like, no, all of these things that keep happening and keep costing us games and potentially cost us the World Series, like the manager and the way this team just craps all over themselves in fundamental situations could have cost them the World Series. Were the Dodgers better anyway? Yeah, probably, but could have been a hell of a lot closer of a series if not for the manager and the decisions he made. How do they look at that and not be like, this ain't it?
Who knows? Clearly they don't look at it through the same lens. So
Toronto, big series, can't get swept again.
Cannot get swept again. Need to come out actually with some life in that series. It's going to be a huge series. And at the end of the day, the way that the pitching lines up is in a good way. I think, and thankfully
they held Fried back because the blister issue before the break, giving them essentially 2 turns through the rotation of break. Rodon threw in the All-Star game, so he got a little bit of extra breather. And Schlittler, even though he was scratch, is going to pitch. Schlittler, I don't want to call him one of their 3 best pitchers, but hey, he might be one of their 3 best pitchers.
We don't know what to expect from him besides, the guy throws hard.
Besides 100 on the gun.
Yeah. And so, there's clearly upside there with the way that he throws. If he throws strikes, then we'll see what happens. It's a huge matchup for him. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch him compete. If this kid can come out and compete in Toronto against his team after being swept there, I think that says a lot about who he is. And we'll see what happens with him, but clearly it's a big series, and it's going to be telling, because if Schlittler is a guy that can come out here and compete and be a guy that you can actually use, every 5th day throughout the rotation, then maybe that changes what you need on the open market for the trade deadline. Like, there's a lot of things that this team needs, but if he can come in and be a guy that's unexpected bright spot, then maybe that affects what Cashman needs to do in the short term.
Well, do you want to talk about trade deadline then? Trade targets.
Let's do it. We said last week that we were going to dive into some of this, quasi GM episode and start talking about what is available out there and what looks like it's an actual possibility. We've done GM episodes in the past where we're putting our hats on and what we think is the best move, but also, understanding and keeping in mind what we believe that the Yankees would do as well, trying to make it as realistic as humanly possible, knowing their style and kind of like the way that they approach some of these moments, whether it's free agency in the offseason or at the deadline. So it'll be interesting.
Every report I've read, every like person in the know is like the Yankees aren't going to just make one move. There's going to be multiple moves that the Yankees make. Okay, sure, fine. Like, what are we talking? Multiple big moves, or are we talking about a couple of relief pitchers? Because every year, every team in contention gets a couple of relief pitchers. That's a given. That's par for the course.
Yeah.
So these relievers on the market, bullpen options, Jake Bird from the Rockies, Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals, Dennis Santana from the Pirates, Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals, Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians apparently is on the market. I'll believe that when I see it. David Bednar from the Pirates. Robertson, who just signed, which I would have loved because that would have just been a money play. No matter the name, probably a dozen names I didn't even list there that are going to be rumored. Whoever it is, yes, they will be adding bullpen arms.
So you said Class A. I also saw a report because where I went immediately when I was looking at third base options. I went to Cleveland.
That ain't happening, my friend.
Because the guy that I've wanted for years and years and years, who somehow for some reason loves Cleveland, Ohio, Jose Ramirez. It was made known apparently that Ramirez, Kwan, Clase, and one more guy was untouchable from what the GM was saying. Whether that means he's actually untouchable or he's untouchable, come with your best offer. You better blow me out of the water.
I don't think the Yankees have the prospects for
Well, we'll see. The Cleveland is an interesting scenario too, though. They are 2 games under 500, 4.5 back on the wild card. The wild card is just a cluster right now with Kansas City, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Texas, and Tampa Bay, all vying for, one more spot that Boston currently has. So
this is the same thing these last few years with the expanded playoffs. You could name basically every team except 3 or 4 that are quote in it.
Not even that. I mean, honestly, like Baltimore is 8.5 back right now. And then you go to,
I'd call them out of it.
I'd call them a hot streak from being in it, though. They have the ability to get back in it potentially. The other two that do not are obviously the A's and the White Sox. But I mean, you could make an argument that Baltimore could be back in the thick of a wild.
So you're saying
every single team minus
13 out of 15 are in the playoff hunt in the American League
as of right now. Yeah, they're not totally.
That makes it a little tricky.
Knowing what the Tigers did last year and how they made a huge run to end the season, like anything's possible with this wild card. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of teams bunched up. So there becomes the decision of, which path are we taking from the team side of things? Like, do we actually believe we're in it? Like, I know the number is a single digit. It's under 5. It says we're right there, but do we actually have the firepower to do anything? And if we were, does it mean anything? Because we're going to get bounced immediately as well. So do we look for the future of the team? Do we look for the near term? Like what do we look for right there? And I think Cleveland is in an interesting spot because they're on the cusp of, and they always kind of are of like, do we rebuild right now? Do we sell off assets at this point and just go fully into the rebuild mode and just like double down on our minor league system? And in 3-4 years, we pop back out and we have, a good 5-year stretch, or do they, make a Band-Aid run and stay pat? Or
they were just in the American League Championship Series. They're a couple good weeks in the regular season away from being in the playoffs, and then they can look at it and be like, we won 2 playoff series last year. Why can't we do the same thing this year?
Yeah, their offense again is still a problem.
It's been a problem.
Naylor's not on the team anymore either. So like they're I don't know. We'll see. And Jose Ramirez loves, obviously he's got a no trade clause. I don't want to spend too much time on him.
Stop. It's not happening.
Just let me get this out. He's got a no trade clause, right? So he's also going to be 33 years old in September. And to me, that's the big thing for Cleveland. This guy's going to be 33. I think he's got 3 years left after this.
He took like a team-friendly deal, though.
I know. So, but again, 33 years old, I literally, Cleveland is like, what are you doing exactly?
I don't think the Yankees have the prospect capital to get Jose Ramirez. If Jose Ramirez was actually available, the Yankees could not compete prospect-wise to get him.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's probably not, but that's a pipe dream, I guess.
So let's talk
Therefore,
about
I'm taking Class A off the list too.
let's talk about reality for the third base market, because it ain't great. So Eugenio Suarez is the one that probably makes the most sense and is the most highly linked to the Yankees with the Diamondbacks. He's crushing the ball this year, a 147 OPS plus. I think his OPS is near 900. He does not play good defense, but again, he's crushing the ball. You can look past defense when the Yankees have had a black hole at third base, both defensively and offensively all season. If you can get him in there who can hit the ball, you can look past it. But the reason Yankees are most highly linked to him is because either Gallen or Kelly, also pitchers in the last year of their deals with the Diamondbacks, would be probably included in that package. It would be a full rental package from the Diamondbacks.
So there's
Kelly's having a good year. Gallen's not having a great year.
Yeah, but I would take a flyer on Gallen for sure. I posted in our chat a thread that I saw on Reddit last night saying that Ricky Ricardo, the Spanish radio voice of the New York Yankees, spoke some words about that there is a proposal. There's a proposal on the table apparently for the Diamondbacks. 5 Yankees prospects, not Lombard, not Jones, but did include Schlittler in a deal for Merrill Kelly, Suarez, and Jalen Beeks. So rentals, I don't think that you need to put in Jones or Lombard or anybody like that of a highly tout
for rentals.
Rentals at this point, but I mean, you're looking at a guy like Schlittler who has all of the stuff that you're looking for as far as physical tools, and you see a ton of upside. And again, if you don't believe, and the Diamondbacks again are also, on the cusp of competing for a wild card. Right now, they are 4.5 back.
Yeah, but they're looking at these guys. They're looking at these guys like, we're not signing these guys anyway. So
yeah, but they also have the talent for potentially making a run. But understanding that they're obviously their big splashy pitcher is out for the year with Tommy John. Next year is another year to come back. They're probably not re-signing these guys. Let's add what we can at this point. So it depends on, I think, what happens in the next couple of weeks here with a lot of teams. But certainly that's to me the most, and I know it's the one that's reported the most. Everybody's talking about that one the most, but it does seem like it's the most obvious fit.
And you know why? Because the other options at third base are Nolan Arenado, who we talked about all off season, makes a ton of money. He's got a 93 OPS plus this year. He's not having a good year. Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. Problem is he has an 88 OPS plus this season, and he's another left-handed hitter. And IKF. And I'm sorry, I understand IKF's numbers look pretty good. I can't get excited about a reunion with IKF at third base. That cannot be the Yankees solution at third base. It just can't.
So the thing is if they don't go, if Suarez doesn't happen here, or something just completely unexpected that, no one's really even talking about, or Jose Ramirez coming over to the New York Yankees, who are the realistic options? You got Candelario, who was basically dumped from the Reds. They had a contract on him, signed him to a deal. He was, a terrible player, just was not hitting at all. And so he's in the minor leagues. That's a filler spot that they, it's a Cashman flyer if I've ever seen one. And then you're looking around at like, okay, we need a guy who could play defense, maybe give us a little flexibility, who can hit the ball, bat to ball type thing. And, you look at your top 3 options around the league and guys who are available, and IKF jumps to the top of the board. Whether he was on this team or not, whether we have a mental association with him or not, you look at just the players available and the makeup of the players, and we know that Cashman likes to go back to some familiarity sometimes, and IKF jumps to the top of the board when you're looking inside there. So
to that, I say, get the deal with Arizona done.
Okay. I agree. I think that Arizona, if Arizona is at the table and they are willing to make a deal like this, and you're not giving up Jones or Lombard, and that, I think anybody at that point becomes available, and you just make the deal, because this team right now, if you're able to add more starting pitching, some with upside, a right-handed bat at third base, this team, the AL is still wide open. I think it's wide open.
IKF this year for Pittsburgh is hitting 276, 318, 343. So he's just slapping singles around. He's gotten 84 OPS plus. Okay.
I mean,
84.
that's what he is. That is what he is.
How is that a solution? I just read you Suarez's numbers.
Because you have to
He's
look
got
at
a
what the numbers are.
147 OPS plus.
Okay, if you're comparing the two, there's no comparison. But when you're
I just read you the numbers of Arenado, 93 OPS plus, and Ryan McMahon, 88 OPS plus. Those two guys can also play defense and also suck offensively. Go get one of those guys instead of a reunion with IKF.
Well, no, at that point, they're not going to pay the money. And again, part of this is being realistic. They're not going to pay the money. So they're going to go for a guy that they know can play a
give me a guy with upside
caliber third base.
At least maybe Arenado gets a little jolt in the ass like Goldschmidt got when he came.
Arenado, I don't think is even close to an option because of the money. Like straight up, unless St. Louis eats a whole bunch of money, which I don't know why they would. St. Louis isn't out of it either. St. Louis is 3.5 back.
No one's out of it.
Yeah, but you're looking at who's the potential of getting in there, and they're right in the thick of things too. So,
if the Yankees' solution this deadline is IKF, what are you grading? I'm grading that an F. That's an F.
So here's what they're going to compare it to, though. What is the current situation of third base?
Basically IKF.
No, it's not. It's not even. It's the offensive production from Peraza or Vivas or anybody else is not what IKF. IKF can at least get on base and give you something. There is a clear upgrade there. And look, I am not pounding the mats here for IKF. I'm just telling you what they are going to tell us. And when you're looking around, if Suarez, let's just put Suarez out of the picture for a minute. If that can't happen, if the Diamondbacks are saying that's not a deal we're going to do, we're not trading this guy right now. We're going to make a run, see what happens. And now you're looking at the rest of the options. IKF becomes the guy that they're going to because
it's going to happen.
Well, hold on. There's also another opportunity to make a deal with the Pirates
for some of their pitching,
to get some pitching as well. And when you look at the total package of what they can get from Pittsburgh, does it make the team better? Yeah, probably. It makes the team better from where we are today. I believe that is the case. Is it sexy? Is it what we want? It's not what you want. It's not what you want.
You think if the Yankees trade every single member of their organization,
yeah,
they could get Paul Skeens in the deal?
I don't know what the Pirates are doing. It feels like Paul Skeens is just going to be an amazing pitcher somewhere else at some point. Like it's going to happen.
He's going to sign a $500 million deal in free agency in 4 years.
But if you don't believe that the Yankees can get Jose Ramirez because of their package of minor league prospects,
yeah, it was a
joke.
In
God's name makes you think that Paul Skeens can be available.
It was a joke.
Yeah, but would Paul Skeens would look fantastic in pinstripes? Yes, he would.
He wouldn't even have to shave.
No, he wouldn't. Not that it. I don't know. You could make it.
So
that's not a well kept.
So the thing with that I'm fearing is because we just talked about how crummy the third base market is. The Diamondbacks know that, and they're going to be, basically squeezing the balls of the Yankees. Like, no, you've got to pony up here because this is your best option. And then Cashman's not going to want to overpay for rentals, and he's going to move on to IKF for one of these B or C or D options, citing the fact that the market got too crazy for Eugenio Suarez.
Well, and I think the Mets are in on him as well as a third base option.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think they're going to have to overpay for Eugenio Suarez and then one of those pitchers from the Diamondbacks.
That's just what happens at the deadline. You're always going to have to overpay for something in the midseason.
But especially because
the premise of the deadline is that you need to get better.
But also, there's like 4 good third basemen in baseball right now. I feel like this is just a black hole position around the league.
Yeah, no, it's Suarez is like, when he got hit in the All-Star game, when I saw that, I was like, that's a broken finger. Like that guy's finger is broken. It's probably shattered. It made a lot of contact on a small bone in his hand. And then he made a nice play at third base after that. So, it wasn't, but I think everybody held their collective breath when seeing
Cashman perked up. It's like, oh, price just went down.
Yeah, probably. I'll sit on him for a month. I'll take him for 30 days.
We've never had any problems taking guys with injuries.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. So yeah, I think that there's unless there's something that's really unknown here, or someone comes to the table that you don't expect and makes a guy available, even that case, there just aren't that many outside of the superstar and Jose Ramirez. There just aren't that many guys that will be remotely available.
So I think the best course for the Yankees is that package from the Diamondbacks. One of those pitchers in Suarez that solves your third base problem and that gives you pitching depth, which you need. You need pitching depth right now, starting pitching depth. But if they don't get one of those pitchers from the Diamondbacks, some other options, Mitch Keller from the Pirates, Tyler Anderson from the Angels, Seth Lugo from the Royals has been rumored a lot, which is very interesting.
Yeah, there are other Nick Ramirez from the Cincinnati Reds.
And Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee.
Yeah, so you're looking at some of these guys. Milwaukee is interesting. If you look at all the reports for them too, it's like they could sell and add at the same time. And they've done that in the past. Cincinnati's similar in that regard. Like they have openings where they need to fill, and they had a surplus of starting pitching in the beginning of the season. They've been hit with some injuries. They have a relief pitcher. Their closer is also interesting, as a potential add for someone if they're able to get something that is complementary to fit one of their holes. I was making an argument last night, and look, I people probably won't firmly agree with me on this, but I believe it full blown.
Do it.
I want to trade Trent Grisham. I want to trade Trent Grisham right now at his highest potential value. Because as I've said before here, I love Trent Grisham as a player. I think he has been fantastic and actually kind of a savior for what this team has been this year, and clutch and can play the field. But at the end of the day, I want Jason Dominguez to play every single day. And when Grisham is in there, Dominguez is on the bench. And I need Dominguez to develop. And I think when you're looking at potential upside and what the Yankees need for the rest of the season, I don't expect the same numbers for Grisham to get in the second half that he did in the first half. I think you're going to see a fall off on the numbers. I think it's inevitable. And then I think that Dominguez, if playing every day as a young guy who can go out there and develop further, and I think playing more for him is crucial. You have the ability to get a player in the second half that you don't have on this team right now. A guy that has the ability to get on base at a pretty high clip, to make things happen on the base path, and be a dynamic bat, towards the end of that lineup in some capacity. And I think they're relatively redundant. I pulled some numbers last night for last 90 days because I think that is a good enough sample size to see what they've been. Last 90 days, Jason Dominguez, 271 batting average, 57 hits, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, 33 runs scored in 62 games. Trent Grisham, batting 240, 54 hits, 11 home runs, 25 RBIs, 34 runs scored in 61 games. They're essentially redundant offensive players when you look at the way that they've both put out there. Now, I understand that you can make the argument, and it's really not much of an argument, that Grisham is by far the better defender, and he comes in and can play center field. I hear that. I understand that. My big thing is, to me, if you're able to get rid of Trent Grisham is a free agent next year, there's a bit of a problem with playing time right now with what is going on with the Yankees. They are juggling. There's always a guy on the bench that probably shouldn't be on the bench at this point. If you can turn him into something that makes this team better in another spot that they need, I don't think it hurts the team. I really don't think it hurts the team. In fact, I believe it will help the team offensively and for the long run, because then you can get Dominguez more consistent playing time. And it's clearly a higher upside, more dynamic bat. So that's what I would look for. And I understand it's not the most simple thing to do, because now because Grisham is an expiring contract, you have to find a team that's competing or on the fringe of competing.
What are you getting back though? Like that's the thing. So I hear you. I'm also extremely frustrated by, you made a good point yesterday in our text chat. Your frustrations are with the Yankees' lack of commitment to developing Jason Dominguez.
And players in general, besides Anthony Volpe, clearly.
It's like Dominguez gets stunted playing time. How is he ever expected to turn into the player we all think he could be, and that the Yankees have basically told us he's going to be for the past 7 years? Like this guy was a top international signing and a top Major League Baseball prospect for a reason.
A physical specimen as well.
He needs to play every day, including against left-handed pitching. Yes. And if he can't hit left-handed pitching, let him go prove he can't hit left-handed pitching. Don't not let him hit left-handed pitching. Trent Grisham, I love what he's done, and I don't really want them to trade him, because I do see value in him, not only in his glove, but also his bat late in games. Like, I like the idea of having Trent Grisham as the fourth outfielder in the playoffs for defense or for an at-bat you need late in the game. Like, I see more value in that than, say, a bullpen arm that they could get for him.
But that's not how they're going to play it.
I know. That's the frustrating thing. They're going to play it as him as the starter, and that's where the problem comes in.
Because if you do that, you take Dominguez out of the game.
Right.
Because you're not gonna pinch hit him later.
Maybe he gets
as a left-handed bat.
Maybe he pinch runs for Stanton.
Exactly. You're basically rendering him useless at that point by not starting the game because they believe he's a liability in the field at that point. And he's not going to pinch hit as a left-handed bat for Grisham because that's both of their strength at that point, and you're not going to take the glove out of that. So therefore, you're essentially losing a player on the roster for that game. That's what's happening.
Right. And so if they treated Grisham, if they just treated Grisham as a fourth outfielder, I say absolutely keep him. It's not worth the bullpen arm you're going to get from him because realistically, that's all you're going to get. He's a free agent after the end of this year. I don't expect the Yankees to sign him at the end of this year. And if they do sign him, then God help us all, because all you're doing is
if they sign him, they are committing to him as a 28-year-old, finding it late and going to be that guy. They expect him to be the guy that we've seen.
You know what?
I know. Aaron Hicks is going to happen all over again.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
They're going to sign him to a 6-year, $60 million contract.
Yeah, it's going to be a value contract, exactly, for a guy that they believe in, and he's going to suck.
And Dominguez is going to be in Clint Frazier purgatory.
Correct. Or he's going to go somewhere else and excel.
And play every single day and be an all-star.
Yes. And this is the I can't watch this happen again. I just cannot. And so right now you are looking at Trent Grisham at the highest value that he has ever been. This is a throw-in player for the Soto deal to take the money off of San Diego's books. And now he is at his highest value you could possibly have. And frankly, like, honestly, I value the development of Dominguez. And again, I think that he's a better bat. And I think you play both. If two things are equal and both guys are getting everyday playing time for the second half, you're going to see better numbers from Dominguez, more of an impact player for Dominguez. He can do different things to impact the game. I think that is the better play for the Yankees. So in fact, like, if you're able to get something that's, if you're able to get something for Grisham that could help you next year, I would even do that. I really would. I think that
prospect.
I think that I think that they have a log jam right now, and you're never going to get a higher value. And you can, if you need a glove, you can find a glove. There's a lot of people that could play the outfield at a high level. And in fact, you have a guy right now in Bellinger that could go out there and play a Gold Glove caliber center field every day.
I would be shocked if they move Grisham. I just wish that they would use him as the true fourth outfielder. You can still get him a lot of playing time as the fourth outfielder. You can still get at bats because he can come in.
You can go out on the free agent market and pick up someone who's a glove and be a fourth outfielder who can run the bases. And therefore, you have a guy who can pinch run, exactly what we're talking about. The exact role that you possibly need. You have a guy that can run. You have a guy that can steal bags potentially, and a guy that can play defense. And they have it. What's that kid's name that came up and was on the postseason roster who stole bases? You know what I'm talking about?
For the Yankees?
He's a white kid that played the outfield that
when?
I can't think of his name. Last year. Oh, keep going. I'll find it. I can't think of his name right now. Chat, if you hear, like, what's this kid's name? But that's a guy that could go out there and play. There's a million of these guys who could play defense and run the bases. Like, that's what you need.
I think your argument falls apart when we get to what is the return for Trent Grisham, and I just don't think it's going to be worth it. Let him walk in free agency. Definitely don't sign him because we want Jason Dominguez to play every single day, and let someone else overpay Trent Grisham. Like, thank you for your service, Trent. Hopefully we can have a deep playoff run this year with you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you,
Duke Ellis. One other infield option that I was just perusing, like, teams definitely out of it. Like, to your point, not a lot of teams. Nationals definitely out of it. Ahmed Rosario is an interesting option as infield depth because he can play multiple positions. I know he's not, like, really a third baseman, but he can play second base. He can play third base, and he's hitting. And so it's like
he's a hitter. He's a pro hitter. Like, that guy just hits.
It's not going to take anything to get him.
I mean, that IKF, Rosario, like, If Suarez doesn't happen, that's going to be the move. That's what's
Okay.
going to
Well,
happen.
give me something new. Give me something I haven't seen on the team before.
Yeah, and frankly, like when we're looking at starting pitching, if Schlittler is not in a deal that is bringing back a guy that has major league, caliber starting pitching experience, a guy that has upside, a guy like Gallen who having not a good year but has postseason experience, has as long as he's not damaged goods right now, and you see the potential.
Wouldn't you rather have the guy having the better year, since it's a 1-year deal for both of those guys anyway?
Yeah, but again, like part of that is Suarez as well. So you're looking at, to get that done, if you have to
got to take the worst pitcher, you're saying?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. But again, like a change of scenery for a guy like him could make a big difference.
Sure.
You've seen it 100 times, where a guy like that comes to form for a second half stretch and, has that ability to come in a postseason game and give you, a solid start in what you need and allow the offense to do their thing.
So just on the surface of it, I think we're agreeing. Obviously, third base, need a starting pitcher, and then a bullpen arm or two. Probably not going to be two high-profile bullpen arms, but there's going to be probably two new names.
There'll be some Cashman specials in there. Some guy that has a splitter that strikes out a bunch. That they're going to roll some guy who has something like a hard something down in the zone.
Wouldn't Robertson for $5 million have just been? I know that's kind of a lot for half a season for a guy that hasn't pitched all year, but like that's just money.
Good for him, by the way. What do you think he gets for a full season? $5 million? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he's probably like looking at the risk reward here for what he's got to actually.
He should do this every year. The same way.
He's representing himself too.
The same way Roger Clemens just did this. Like I'm only going to do half a year, guys.
It's really good as a relief pitcher.
Yeah,
it's a genius move.
I'm going to save my bullets for the end of the season, and I'm going to just hold a showcase every June.
Yeah.
At my house.
You get the first half of the summer with your family and kids.
All of the contenders can come.
Yeah.
Watch me throw darts, and I'll be on your playoff roster.
It's actually genius for a guy like David Robertson. It's a smart thing to. It's a smart thing to do.
I could either pitch 2 more full seasons or 5 more half seasons.
Yeah, I mean he could pitch for a long. How old is he now?
41, I think.
He as a relief pitcher, and this has always been a thing ever since, you go back to guys like Mike Stanton, and I'm talking about Giancarlo Stanton's former name, Mike Stanton, who was played for probably every single Major League Baseball team out there because he was a right-handed middle reliever.
No, he's lefty.
Mike Stanton was a right-handed.
No.
Yeah, you look it up.
Okay.
You have a guy like that who could go in there and just throw forever and ever and ever. And
when I Google Mike Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton comes up.
You have those guys are just if you could get outs, it doesn't matter how old you are needed. And whether it's mop up, whether it's
Mike Stanton bats left, throws left.
Throws left. Why did I think he was
age 58 from Houston, Texas?
58 could probably still throw. Yeah, left-handed middle reliever. This is exactly what I said.
But David Robertson, I trust.
David Robertson gets strikeouts too.
I trust with my life on the line. I trust David Robertson to get out of a jam.
And your life will feel like it's on the line with him on the mound too. It will not be low stress.
David Robertson, I will forever remember what you did in that 2017 wildcard game. I will also forever remember that you blew Jeter's last home game just so he could come up and get the walk-off hit.
Yeah. It's definitely he's definitely a guy that I think that there was a bridge that was burned, whether it was on his end, the Yankees end, whomever, with the whole playoff money thing. The last year he was here, there was something. Obviously, we know what happened, but there was a relationship that was strained, if not broken. Unfortunately, the Yankees haven't even been, among the people even talking about it. So.
Well, he might have himself a new business by just pitching half seasons and raking in $5 million for July, August, September.
Yeah. I mean, again, first half of the summer with the family, second half, school starts, like kids have something to talk about. Your dad's on the mound, like pretty nice little spot for him. Julio's asking about, I haven't said anything about Spencer Jones and his defense. I don't know much about his defense, to be honest. I haven't heard much about it, but he's raking. Obviously, he's got like 10 home runs in 16 games or something like that in AAA right now. The guy's just absolutely knocking the door down. But like, what do you do? What do you do with a guy like that?
I don't think you do anything this
Is
year.
he on display? Maybe, but you better get something back for a guy like that that has, all the physical tools, is showing it now in one more rank up, and he's mashing the ball. So
we're running long. Do you want to spend 2 minutes on the swing off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Swing off.
So the swing off from the swing off. Okay, so talk about it from the All-Star game. Obviously they didn't have. They're not playing extra innings in an All-Star game. Everybody was throwing.
Don't need extra innings in an All-Star game.
They all got everybody in, so there were no more pitchers to throw.
Great.
If you're going All-Star, if you're going extra innings, it's very difficult to manage the player entries and exits at that point.
We all know an Aaron Boone managed team in extra innings is not going to do too well.
So they go to a swing off. Well, and even in a swing off, he puts in like the people that he deems.
No, but like half the players left. Which they
had to talk about. They had to set these lines, but the three guys before the game, and one of them had to make an adjustment because Suarez was with the hand and they didn't want him to play. So because of injury, they were.
I didn't know they had to pick. I didn't realize they had to pick the guys before the game.
Yeah. So Boone picks three guys that are not the best guys to be in that swing off.
Three guys that he knew would be there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because Judge was on a private jet somewhere. Everyone was gone. And
then you have the other side going for the jugular with Schwarber and Alonso coming up after.
Let's get to the real question. And Lee Jones also asked this.
What would I give the MVP to a guy that hit 3 home runs or not 2 home runs off of a coach? No, I probably would have given the MVP to Alonso, who actually hit a 3-run home run off of a major league all-star pitcher.
The question is, Scott, would you rather have the swing off as the game deciding thing, or the current extra innings rule with the fake runner at second base?
If you have to put a gun to my head to do the thing, I would probably put the fake runner on second base, because while the swing off has some short-term appeal because home runs are being hit, it's so gimmicky, and I can't get past the fact that there's a coach throwing a ball with an L screen on the field in a meaningful game, something that counts to determine the game.
How about
at least with the fake runner on second base, there are major league players on the field, and major league players have to determine what is happening with actual gameplay. So if you're putting a gun to my head, I hate them both, but I would probably put the fake runner on second base.
How about instead of a coach throwing behind an L screen, it's David Robertson doing his summer showcase?
So you just have showcase guys. What happens after the trade deadline? You have guys that were released. Yeah. Turd Ferguson's coming around and throwing. You have the Savannah Bananas coming out.
For jobs. You have guys looking for jobs.
Honestly, if the Savannah Bananas were deemed as the pitcher, the all-time pitcher for the swing offs, you'd probably get the ratings would go up.
I told you guys
that's actually a genius idea. If they're doing it, they should deem the Savannah Bananas as the all-time pitchers for swing offs.
I told you guys this in our text chat. I didn't tell this on the podcast, and Leanne's not going to listen. So she's never going to hear me say this. Last time the Athletics were playing at Yankee Stadium, they were wearing like super colorful jerseys, and Leanne looked at the TV and she goes, "Oh, is that the team that like sings and dances during the game?" And I'm like, "You think the Yankees are playing the Savannah Bananas right now? You think the Savannah Bananas play in Major League Baseball?" I had like a full on.
They play in MLB stadiums.
I had a full on.
Someone who doesn't watch baseball, it's not a completely foreign thought.
I had a full on meltdown about the fact that, like, you'd think by osmosis after 10 years she's gonna know something. Like, I know some things about The Bachelor just from osmosis, just by the fact that it's on in my freaking house, right? Same thing with the kids show. I know about all these. I know about Spidey and his amazing friends because I can hear it from the living room. Yeah. Okay. You'd think Leanne would know that the Savannah Bananas do not, in fact, play in Major League Baseball, but she did not.
Well, you know what? When you start adding gimmicky things to the game, there's a lot more things in play potentially at some point during a game. So
you don't like the idea of actual
I think
real
the
extra
swing off. I think the swing off will get very old, and I think the players won't like it. I think that you'll see guys who are not home run hitters in that. I think that it's going to be a waste of a roster spot potentially just for a potential swing off. I don't know. What are they going to do? Add another roster spot just for that guy?
No, why do you have to add another roster?
I don't know, because the end of your dugout, the end of your bench is going to be.
What if it's?
I guess it could be anybody on the field.
What if you can pick one player, but then the other two players are the next two guys up in the batting order?
I don't. Again, then you're not hitting. You have not home run guys that are potentially.
So what? That's part of it. That's cool.
So then you have to go when no one hits a home run, and then you just keep going, and it's just. What if the base coach has everyone hit? What if you're looking at like non-strikes, just a whole bunch of non-strikes? Because guy,
it's timed. You got to time this thing.
I know.
Time limit.
What if you're seeing a bunch of balls that are thrown?
Well, then you got to get a better swing off thrower.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. And the fact is that you're
Lloyd, a swing. Maybe it's someone from the stands. It's like you win a raffle. You come in.
Then you might as well do the Savannah Bananas, because at least they could throw the ball over the plate
while doing a backflip.
Yeah. So anyway. No, I don't like it. I think it's
you know what's funny? Watching all the baseball purists in a pretzel, because it got praised to high heavens after the All-Star game.
I know.
By baseball purists too. Like literally Jeff Passan wrote poetry about it. Okay. And it's like, oh, okay. I see where you guys are at.
Yeah. I don't know. They just want something that's dynamic, and everybody's comparing it to a shoot off. I just don't see it like that, because in a shoot off, you have two professional athletes doing a professional athlete thing. Whereas you have here one professional athlete hitting against a 60-year-old man with an L screen.
What if you do a fundamentals off? Like, can you cover the bag?
How about a bunt off?
A bunt off.
Yeah.
The Korean baseball league
exactly.
has bunting challenges. They have little targets on the field.
Yeah, I know.
Yankees like that demolish an extra innings.
That would be something interesting. But again, you're going to like a skills challenge that's going to actually determine a real win or loss in the game. Not an exhibition game like an All-Star game, a real game.
But you know what? A fundamentals off
with one game, where you're out of the playoffs in a wild card scenario, one game, and you're looking at this gimmicky bullshit that they would put into a game. I don't think
I can get behind a Tom Amansky fundamentals off more than a home run off in the playoffs, because at least that's baseball. At least fundamentals are probably going to cost that team anyway if they can't win the fundamental off.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say in the All-Star game, it's a fun element.
Of course, in the All-Star game,
it's a fun element. Just stop talking about it where a real game is determined. But in the All-Star game,
be in a real game.
All-Star game is, if it's that or we end in a tie, you do that. Of course you do that.
People were like, "Oh, I'd rather go to a tie." Seriously? Like,
yeah. Why? No, that you, at least at that point, now you're getting guys who don't want to do all of the home run derby stuff and the preparation and like be announced. You get home run derby guys in a home run derby scenario.
But also Schwarber's a guy, if this ever made it to real games, could extend his career by like 10 years, because teams would employ him, because that dude could win swing offs for the rest of his life.
Exactly my point. Now you're determining a roster spot for exactly this. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of guys that would have jobs for a while. 10%. Ichiro would still be on a roster because of his ability.
Because he used to be able to hit home runs.
Oh yeah, dude, he was one of the best. If you have 3 pitches and you have a guy that give me Ichiro,
who wouldn't?
Ichiro.
You know who wouldn't be on a roster just for the swing off? Jazz Chisholm.
Jazz Chisholm would not be on there.
That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you again next Monday.